Welcome to Around the Table, where we share simple yet elevated everyday meals. One thing I am so excited about is sometimes it's going to be just me, and we're also going to have a lot of guests on this series. And today we have my good friend Kelsey Nixon, who is the perfect first guest as I figure out how to have people in my kitchen. We've known each other since, I don't want to date us, but
I know, a long time.
Since right after college.
Yeah.
We lived together. It was like, how many of us? 6 girls in a house?
6 girls, it was a party.
It was a really big old house, and we all had just graduated. We moved in, and
we called it the greenhouse.
We called it the greenhouse
because it was painted green.
Like not a pretty green.
No, actually a really bad green.
A really, really bad green. And then I noticed, I drove by and someone repainted it another really bad green. Geez. You were living in the basement.
A very scary basement.
It was really scary. Like I don't know if those were suitable living conditions.
Let me tell you what's not suitable. Not only was I living in the basement, I knew I wasn't going to be there that long. I slept on an air mattress in the basement.
Oh, for some reason I was thinking it was a mattress on the floor, but it was
it was a fancy air mattress, but it was an air mattress on the floor.
Okay, but to your credit, you weren't really there. She was hardly there because at this time, Kelsey was on the next Food Network star.
Yes, I was. I was my reality show era.
Yes, exactly. And you were engaged, and there was a lot
going on, but we still had a lot of fun in that house.
So after the next Food Network star, where you won People's Choice?
Fan favorite. Yes, yeah. Didn't win the show, but I won the fan favorite.
You were our fan favorite.
You guys are the best.
Then you moved on to
Food Network and Cooking Channel, and I met Bobby Flay, was an incredible mentor to mine on that show, and he ended up executive producing a series for me that ran for 7 seasons, and it was this incredible chapter of my life, and I did a lot of cooking shows. That was what I did.
Which is exactly why you are here today. So what are we making?
We are making one of my favorites, a chopped kale Caesar with salmon. I have been on a salad kick lately. I'm trying to have like a salad a day, right? To get those greens and those veggies in. But when I want to try and convince my family that salad's a meal, I gotta think of ways to make it a bit heartier or deconstruct it for my kids. And so this has been one of my favorite salads to do during the spring and summer in particular, where I feel like I'm getting a really hearty salad, but I don't have to be a short order cook and make other people other things.
Yes.
One of the ways we can do that is by adding a grain to the salad. And that could be anything like quinoa, which has got a lot of protein in it, it's gluten-free, farro, which is really nutty and nice, or rice. And we're gonna use wild rice today, which is awesome. So I'm a big fan of having a rice cooker.
Yep.
And not just for rice, you can cook all your grains in it, because all we have to do is add it and push the button. Yes. So let's open that up and add our wild rice. And one of my best tips when cooking any sort of grain is to cook it in broth. That's a great way to add extra flavor, even some extra protein in there as well. And I'm to the point now with grains where I almost never cook them in straight water.
I love this tip. I did not know this.
It tastes so much better. So push the magic button and
push the magic button. Yeah. And then I'm gonna move this to a different part of the kitchen so we can focus on what's happening here.
Yes. All right, so now that our grains are going, let's make some homemade croutons.
That is how I get my kids to eat salads. It's usually putting something that feels crunchy or fun on my salads. Totally. And so if this will last me all week, that's great. Then I can get my kids to eat more salads.
If we want the croutons to be crunchy all around, we don't want to overcrowd this pan too much, because what roasting essentially is doing is it's taking all that air circulating around it and making it crunchy from all angles. If we put too much on there, it's actually going to end up steaming and make them soft. This is one of my favorite tools for roasting anything in the kitchen, whether I'm making homemade croutons or I'm making roasted vegetables. I love having an olive oil sprayer.
This is like your greatest gift, because you told me about this years ago, and it makes it so that everything is evenly covered, but then I don't feel like I'm using as much olive oil.
Now that the croutons are evenly coated in oil, let's add some kosher salt and some cracked black pepper and a little bit of garlic powder.
Okay.
Typically, I'm a fan of fresh garlic, but with something like this crouton, having the garlic powder is going to allow it to be more evenly coated. And then I love that cracked black pepper on there too. And while you are dolling those up with some salt and pepper, I'm gonna chop some fresh parsley because when these come out of the oven, one of my favorite things to do with anything I roast in the oven is to finish with a little bit of something fresh.
So you're just sprinkling this on. You're
Just
not
sprinkling.
tossing.
Not really.
Okay, that's what I like to hear. If the result is gonna be the same and it's easy, like I feel like you have mastered the weeknight meal that for families.
Well, I live and breathe it. Like you, I've got 3 young kids and I'm a busy, overwhelmed working mom.
But I like to cook at home. Like I don't like to go out.
Exactly.
And so it is a grind to be ready for dinner every
really is.
single night.
I understand the mom that's like, don't make me toss this with my hands. Then I gotta clean my hand. Like, you know what I mean?
We're grinding.
We're grinding. Yeah, let's grind the. Oh, yeah. Oh. Look at that.
This is my fancy tool that I love to have.
There's a light. Oh my gosh. Okay, so these are ready to go in the oven. And anytime I roast anything, whether I'm roasting something like bread for croutons or vegetables, I love finishing with something fresh. So I'm gonna chop up some parsley, some Italian parsley.
I love that this is gonna give us some color.
Exactly, because we eat with our eyes first.
Yes.
And so we gotta make it look good.
Yep.
And no one knows that more than you. Like this is where
I care about it tasting good and looking good. Yes, yes.
This is the thing. When people think of salad, they typically think of like romaine or a spring mix or something like that.
I love to mix an herb.
Tossing in herbs to salad, so maybe we'll have to add a little bit of this into our
I
greens.
love that.
It's really fresh and nice. So let's pop those in a 375-degree oven, and they'll cook for about 15 minutes or so, but we'll check on them. We're gonna make the dressing, and same way with croutons, where it's not that hard to make them from scratch and they really make a big difference. It's the same with dressing. Yeah. Making a homemade dressing or becoming a home cook that feels confident making dressings, it will change your life. Like,
I love to have them in the fridge on hand because it makes everything taste better.
And I eat way more salads when I have them. And this is the thing, is a dressing is not just for a salad. Taking like a delicious vinaigrette and drizzling over roasted vegetables is a game changer. So,
oh, that's our croutons.
Oh, croutons! All right, so Shea, let's make this dressing.
So we've got a Caesar dressing.
Yep, so Caesar with no anchovies.
Which is my preference. I know, it's like.
Nope, no judgment here. If you wanna add an anchovy, you can add an anchovy, okay? But this is a no anchovy Caesar club.
Yeah.
That's what this is. So we're gonna start with the base of mayo. You could also do Greek yogurt. So we've got about 1/3 of a cup, and I'm referencing.
That's completely interchangeable. I love that, because
Yes.
I always have Greek yogurt on hand.
Totally interchangeable. And we're gonna add, I'm looking at the ingredients. I prefer cooking from a printed copy rather than my phone.
I print everything out.
Yes, we're gonna add some whole grain mustard, Dijon mustard. And I like the whole grain because it's really pretty. It gives those nice, like some texture in the dressing. And then we're gonna add 2 cloves of garlic.
Okay.
We're gonna add some white wine vinegar, about 2 tablespoons of that. We've got the mustard, the garlic, the vinegar. This is the secret to a lot of dressings, a Worcestershire sauce. Hardest word in the kitchen to say.
I'm glad you said that one, not
Yes,
me.
2 teaspoons of Worcestershire in there. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and we're gonna add some salt and pepper in here. And then the last thing we're gonna add, the 2 ingredients, I swear this is the secret to a great Caesar dressing, is adding some grated parm in there. So we are swapping the anchovies for the parm. We are adding parm directly into this dressing.
More cheese, less anchovies.
I know.
Yep.
Put it on a t-shirt. As far as the oil goes, anytime you're making a homemade dressing, you wanna put all of the ingredients that are going into that dressing in first and the oil goes in last. That's typically the best way to do it. So we're gonna use an avocado oil today. I kind of swapped out anything I would use a traditional vegetable oil for avocado oil a couple of years ago because it's a little cleaner, but it has a very, very mild flavor. And so the 2 oils I use most often in my kitchen are olive oil and avocado oil.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So lid goes on. You wanna give it a shake, Shea?
Yep.
Then the last thing I'm gonna make you do, Shea, because I think it's really important when making dressings at home, is you gotta taste it.
Yeah, that's true.
Dressing in particular, like, you gotta taste it and adjust. It might need a little more salt, a little more pepper. If you like things a little tangier, you might wanna add more acid like lemon juice or vinegar. So give it a taste and see what you think.
This is delicious.
You like it?
Yeah. I don't have any.
It's great. 2 thumbs up, guys.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up for our Caesar dressing. Okay, our dressing's ready to go. Are you ready for the best dressing tip of all time?
Yes.
We need a salad bowl. One of the best tips when it comes to dressing is to take your dressing and let's say whether you're serving it to your family or it's a dinner party, you add a little in the bottom of the bowl and build all of your greens on top. And the reason we're gonna do this is that if you dress a salad, you know, you've been there, it gets soggy pretty quickly. And so by having it just sitting in the bottom, it makes it easy so you can just toss it together right when you wanna serve it. When it comes to the greens, mix your greens. You can just go buy a spring mix or something like that, but by having 2 types of greens, like we're gonna do a shredded kale and we're gonna do a romaine, it's a nice, easy way to elevate the salad. And we're also gonna add some of that Italian parsley. So Shea, why don't you add this to our bowl? And rather than making you measure exactly how much, I just want you to do about 2 handfuls of the romaine and 2 handfuls of the shredded kale. So you can add the kale. See this? Versus this is so much better. Yes. So much better. Because we eat with our eyes first, it's so nice to have the variance in color too, right? Let's add some of that parsley too. I love that idea you had, adding fresh herbs. And let's say you're cooking dinner and you're making something that's got a little thyme in it or parsley. Have the confidence to be like, I'm gonna add some cilantro.
I love that it tastes like a surprise when you're eating it, when you get a little bite of the herb.
Okay, so this is good and ready to go. What we wanna do next is, I'm a big proponent of seasoning your greens. So we ask too much of the dressing to season the whole salad. So we're going to season our actual greens with a little bit of salt and pepper. Croutons are done, they've cooled a little bit. Let's add some of that fresh parsley. The other thing you could add, I don't think we need to add it, but adding a little finishing salt, like a flaky sea salt, is also something you could totally do. But isn't that nice how that just gives it a little pop of color?
It's nice.
Those look so delicious. Our rice came out of the rice cooker. This is good to go. You could serve the rice in the salad warm or cool, however you want to do it. Like our kids, I would be deconstructing this for my kids, so it would go on one, because heaven forbid the food touch each other. Okay. I don't know how things are in your house, but I have a 3-year-old that's very particular about that. Our dressing is at the bottom there with the greens on top, and the last thing we need to do is make our delicious salmon. And we want to do this last because we want it to be warm and that crispy skin on the bottom. The first step with our salmon is just simply seasoning it with salt and pepper. I think salt and pepper are oftentimes the most underutilized seasonings in our kitchen. We don't have to get fancy. Salt and pepper go a long way. I'm gonna have to get one of these. Salmon's so easy. And there's a couple things we wanna remember. When you're cooking salmon, you always wanna start with the skin side down. That's the way to go. It gets it nice and crispy and it helps to cook that salmon evenly. After cooking for about 5 minutes or so, you're going to flip the salmon and cover it and let it go for another 2 minutes. The reason I like to cover it at that point is it helps to create a nice warm environment for it to finish cooking evenly so that the center is just as done as the exterior as well.
Right.
And that is really it. It's literally one of the easiest proteins you can cook and is the perfect way to complement our Caesar salad. It's ready, it's done. Now, one thing I like to do anytime I cook any like pan-seared fish, salmon, halibut, whatever, is once it comes off the heat, just finish with a little squeeze of fresh lemon. It goes a long way. I think sometimes adding too much seasoning to a simple fillet of fish like this just destroys it. So salt, pepper, lemon, that's all you need. We are ready to serve. Remember, we've got our dressing in the bottom of the bowl there. So Shea, give that a toss. And the only thing we have left to do for the Caesar salad is to give it a lot of good shredded Parmesan cheese. If you really love your guests or your family, you should really get good parm.
It smells really
smells good, right? So that's good to go. We can top it with our croutons. And now at this point, I kind of like to keep it separate because you may have someone that just wants to have Caesar salad and you may have someone that wants the whole thing. So, and I'm actually realizing this is a really good thing to meal prep too. If you wanted to meal prep a lunch, you could meal prep these things individually and pull it all together. But let's build this delicious Caesar salad.
So this kind of gives us the option to have a vegetarian option or pick your protein. Like
Exactly.
Salmon is going to be delicious, but you might be doing chicken one night. So
exactly.
You can interchange.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. So let's build this bowl here where we're going to give ourselves a nice base of Caesar salad. And when I'm doing salad as like a meal, I like to do it in a shallow bowl. It feels like a little bit more contained. Then we're going to top with our salmon right on top.
This is so pretty.
It's so pretty.
It looks good.
So this is something that could be a Tuesday night dinner for your family, or you could entertain with this. Yes. You could have people over.
Well, and I love that all of this is like easily multipliable. Like
exactly.
We had extra bread for the croutons. Like just add more greens.
Right.
Yeah, like you could build this out.
Delicious chopped salmon Caesar. It's a good recipe. Like everyone should know how to make a good Caesar salad at home. And so this is a great base. And then you could do different combinations here. Maybe you're gonna do quinoa with grilled chicken and add that to your Caesar. And maybe you're gonna add some, cherry tomatoes from the garden or something like that. It's a nice, almost like a canvas for building a really beautiful salad.
You guys, this was so easy because Kelsey did all of the work, but it was also actually really simple to put together, but it's so beautiful. And so that is like what I am all about. I want to have those fresh herbs, to have all of the yummy flaky sea salt, and it really, really comes together. And it's like, looks like you're showing off.
The best food is simple food.
Yeah.
It really is. Like this ingredient list is not long, it's simple.
Okay, so this recipe is going in my binder.
Yes.
Kelsey designed the most amazing binder. Have it back here. I truly do use this every single day because as you mentioned earlier, you print everything out. I print every single recipe out. And so I keep all of my recipes for the week up here if they're not already in the binder. And if they're good enough to make it in the binder, then they get printed out.
And put in the binder, yes.
Planning for family weeknight meals is different than just doing a really beautiful Sunday dinner. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Every single night, it's just like, oh my gosh, I gotta do it again.
It never
and
goes
I gotta
away.
make something that everyone likes. And you have figured it out. Usually it's only Recipe Club members that
Can buy the binder,
can buy the binder. But you're letting...
We are opening it up.
Thank you so much, Kelsey. And I hope we get family meal after this and I can dive in.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Around the Table, and we'll see you next time.